Well, good morning, everyone. Afternoon or evening, wherever you're calling in from. I'm so excited. New time, 11 a.m. Eastern on Friday's New Experience. Good morning, Lay. So glad that you're here. Lay Scheidel is here from California and she's tuning in from YouTube. So if you have any problems with LinkedIn, I'm sure Lay would be happy to put the link in the comments so that you could see it. So thank you for being here, my friend, right on time. So we don't need this right now. There we go. And as you come into the room, I am going to sing you in as usual. And this is a new evolution of what I've been doing here on LinkedIn. I'm Leslie Flowers, and I'm your host each Friday, where we look deeply into Think and Grow Rich, the #2 bestseller of all times in personal development over the last 100 years. And we add principles, leadership, and laws. So it's a bigger umbrella, still with the focus on the principles of success. And now my 35 years in leadership and 20 years studying universal laws. So you're going to get a bigger picture. And hopefully this will help you. So as you come in, welcome. And I'd love for you to tell me where you're calling in from. Sit back and enjoy yourself. This is actually going to be about 30 minutes of solid content, things that you haven't seen before. And so just be excited. So I'm going to sing you a song from 1945, first published by Lenny Welch. You know, Think and Grow Rich was written 100 years ago. We're coming up on that 100 mark. And it's still the roadmap to millionaires. And over the last 100 years, so many have followed it. Yet, with millions sold, only a few actually follow it. I wonder why. So I'm so glad you're here. Here's a little song for you. Takes it a minute. When you just give love and never get love, you better let love depart. I know it's so, and yet I know I can't get you out of my heart. You made me leave my happy home. You took my love and now you're gone. Since I fell for you, love brings such misery and pain. I guess I'll never ever be the same since I fell for you. Hey, everybody. Well, it's too bad, and it's too sad, but I'm still in love with you. First you love me, then you snub me, but what can I do? I'm still in love with you alive. Guess I'll never see the light. I get the blues most every night since I fell for you. Since I fell for you. Yeah. I love those old songs. These are the songs that my parents played right when I was a little girl growing up. And it's just so interesting that where I focused the last 20 years in very deep mastery and study is on something that was written 100 years ago, right? Who knew? So, good morning, everybody. I am so glad you're here. I hope you enjoyed that song. I am excited about this series that I'm kicking off. It's going to include things that I have never shown here before. So this is it, right? Everything I know, then you'll know. And I have to tell you, it's 20,000 hours and teaching every week, helping people follow the principles of success and live a life of virtues, values, and soul-kissing love. So let's see who's here. We know that Lay is here. Good morning, Lay. I'm so happy that you're here and you're out on the West Coast. I know that. Thank you for being here. It is a little later for you, so that might help, or actually, yeah, later for you, and for all of us too. Good morning, John, calling in from Chicago, a new friend. This is a 45-minute deep mastery training. I will explain everything in a way that you can understand it, but please know that repetition is how we learn. So it's going to be very important for you to review this and hear it again and again. If you have trouble with LinkedIn this morning, you can hop over to this link, thank you, Lay, on YouTube. It's broadcasting in both places. And this morning we have Nicole Angai Galindo. So good to see you. Nicole is the owner and I guess CEO of Guiding Brilliant Writers Publishing House. And you'll hear a little more from her in just a bit. So glad you're here, Nicole. Thank you very much. And here's Leanna. Hi, Leanna. Leanna's calling in from Duluth. Thank you for being here. And thank you for continuing to support this work that we do together, and also the beautiful photos that you post nearly every day from Minnesota. And I know it's chilly up there, but you have the most beautiful, really beautiful view from your home. You should know Leanna is all about diabetes. This is her area of expertise. But here on LinkedIn, she does more of these beautiful photos, so please enjoy them. And good morning, good day. Here's Ashif Haji. He's calling in from Toronto, Canada. Ashif is a poet. And as Bob Dylan said, he's a poet and he knows it, and I hope he doesn't blow it. So he is always putting out fabulous inspirational quotes that mimic the old masters like Rumi. And so I'm so glad you're here as usual, my friend. I love seeing all of you. You've all gotten the point that repetition is how we learn. And each week, while we may touch on some of the things you've heard before, you're in a different place. Since the last time you heard it, you've grown in conscious awareness of your infinite potential. You see, perspective changes every day with new information. Yet isn't it odd how we will fight for our point of view? But rather than fighting, if we would just listen to other people's point of view, we would evolve a little more. We might take the things that they have shared that resonate with us and add them to what we know, rather than arguing to be right or wrong. And So I'm so glad you're here. Absolutely. Islam Guda is here, our marketing man. And we've been friends for several years here, as long as I've been back since after COVID. Islam, thank you so much for being here. It's so good to see you back on LinkedIn. You know, when you go away, whenever people go away and they go to different platforms and then they come back, gosh, it's so good to have you back. That's what I would tell you. Okay. It's so good to see you there and read your posts and share what you're doing in marketing. Meryl, hi. Yes, Paramus, New Jersey. And I am so glad that you're here. I think you're going to love what I'm doing. And Meryl works with everybody to make sure that the events of which he's aware and we're aware get shared in a number of different places. So I'm very fortunate. I do a weekly carousel of live shows for a number of hosts, and Meryl always adds to that. And he adds to many other direct message groups with live hosts. So thank you for doing that always, Meryl. All right, let's see who else we have here. The darling Sandra Bote. She is an international best-selling author and a hypnotherapist, an NLP practitioner. Sandra, thank you for being here. It's always good to see you. I don't always see you a lot on LinkedIn, but I love seeing you here. And here's Linda Meyer. Good morning, Linda. Linda's expertise is in narcissism, recognizing the patterns. Drop in the comments if you'd be interested in a conversation about recognizing patterns. Now, we had Coach Lee here a couple of weeks ago, and he talked about patterns of possibility. Well, Linda is all about narcissism. And all I can say, Linda, is I wish I knew 30 years ago what I know now so that I could have set a stronger boundary. Right. And I just kept getting caught in the hamster cage. Okay, I got to hurry up here now because I only have 30 solid minutes to just give you the most delicious stuff. You're going to love it. Okay. I know you will. It's what I love doing. And here's Jackie Hallberg. Hi, Jackie. Monday nights at 9 p.m. Jackie has a live called Just Jacks and Guests. She and I are part of the 2350 network. And Nicole Angai Galindo is also there, which is an off-platform personal development platform. But we all met here. So I don't travel off of LinkedIn much, but I do for the 2350 network. Hey, Jackie, so glad that you're here. Lisa Fevick is here. Hi, Lisa. I think it's going to be coming up Tuesday, every other Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, Metamorphosis Dialogues. This is Lisa's week or every other week panel discussion on how to navigate through the different phases of menopause by watching what you're eating to alleviate a lot of the symptoms. And Lisa also puts out a wonderful newsletter. Thank you, Lisa, for being here. And Sharon Rose Penfield is here. She's out in Phoenix, so it's a couple hours earlier. And my intention is to have Sharon Rose as one of our guest teachers on Mind Over Matter Mondays. Very well-versed person. She's the Gita girl. Gratitude is the attitude. Hashtag GITA. Thank you, my friend, for being here. And the beautiful Lauren Benberry calling in from San Diego, California. She posts every day. And she is part of the HR for You project, The Outliers. And she and I wrote in the last anthology, Legacy, A Letter to Our Family, that was published by Guiding Brilliant Writers Publishing House at around Thanksgiving time. And that's how we got to know each other. So writing in anthologies is really it's another way to expand your network. And so glad. Let me just see, because I want to get right to this. All right. Oh, and look who's here, Jay Pasqua. Jay is the storyteller extraordinaire. Every other Thursday at 7 p.m., he and Americo de Costa do a live 7 p.m. Eastern, and it's all about storytelling. So please join Jay and Americo when you're available every other Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Philip is here, my good friend from Florida. And by the way, Philip, I do love your new look. Right. It used to be that Philip was in his Hawaiian shirts, but I mean, he's out helping people now. So he's looking very suave. And I'm so glad to see you. The most wonderful Sajid Kumar is here from Toronto, Canada. And Sajid Kumar is a recruiter. Watch his posts. He really shares some incredible statistics, and in Canada, but it's going to be similar in the United States, of the waves of human resources and where we're headed. Keep your finger on the pulse with Sanjay Kumar. Here's the beautiful Christy D. Williams. She's in Florida. She's part of the 2350 network and a big supporter of my shows. Everybody's shows, really, by reposting them and always having something nice to say. Christy, thank you for being here. I can't tell you how much it means to me to see your faces, all of you, every week. This is what I live for besides my family. I'm at a place in my life where I feel so blessed that I can do this and impart to you everything I've learned, and I've studied hard and I've put in the hours. I don't want to leave this earth with it locked inside. I want it available to you, but you have to be ready and willing, right? So just take it easy. If things get confusing, don't worry about it. Ask questions. When you go back to listen, all you'll have to do is listen to the last 30 minutes, in which that I need to hurry up along here. All right. MD Ishak, thank you so much for being here. Let me get this going here. And you wonder why I do this. Because I live alone. And sometimes I don't talk to many people. So to hear that you're happy to see me really sometimes makes my day, if you know what I mean. So I want you to know how important you are to me. And there's Coach Carrie Willis. You're in Maryville, Indiana. Glad that you're here. I think we must be new friends. And Omar does a live show at noon Eastern Sundays. Do we really know them? And then he is the host of Zoom Party, which is kind of a live Jeopardy with, I don't know how to describe it. He does all sorts of wonderful Jeopardy kinds of contests. And we did one together for Think and Grow Rich. So I got to write all the questions, and then we had people that knew Think and Grow Rich, right, to come in and answer the questions. It was fabulous. All right, Lisa is here. Hi, Lisa. So glad to see you. You're absolutely welcome. It is my greatest delight at this point in my life. This is what I do, Mondays and Fridays. As Kimberly Lechnick says, I'm the bookends for personal development. You can start your week off really hungry and eager to learn and grow in awareness. And you can close the week off like today and move into the weekend with a high spirit. And here you go. I am in Raleigh, North Carolina, Southeast USA. Thank you for asking and being here, Lighter. All right. So from now on, I'm going to go right into the content. Okay, everybody? So let's go and do this. I kind of practiced on this. So I'm moving myself up here. Well, I don't have to do that right away. I can do that in just a minute. Okay. Yes, I do need to do this. Now, this is the first thing. This is a different program. Remember, this is principles, leadership, and laws. And the first thing that we will do using the fourth principle of success, auto-suggestion or self-suggestion, is for you to repeat these 7 mantras before or with me each week. Repetition is how we learn. When you speak them, or even if you read along, generate them as though you wrote them. Fall in love with these ways of being. These are leadership principles, emotional intelligence principles. And if you will do this consistently, There will come a time when this is who you are. This is the character building piece of leadership, okay? And I will read them to you. Ask any questions you have, any comments you have. And if you're listening afterwards, please put Team Replay with a hashtag. And also check out the comments and questions of the wonderful people that are here for the live. You will have an advantage because you will have their input as well as this. These are the 7 mantras that we read every week. And as though we generate them as our own. So this is what it looks like. I am my word. I treat every agreement, including those with myself, as I would an appointment. Let me look over here. Excuse me. With an appointment of my most trusted and valuable client or colleague. I am proactive. I am the one to make sure scheduled calls are held on time, even if another has said they would initiate the call. I am disciplined. I complete all tasks, no matter how small. If I miss one, I complete it within 24 hours. I am focused. I do not allow an interrupt in my plans based on my values unless there is an emergency only I can manage. Then I reset the original plan. I am motivated. I show up hungry, eager, and present, even if I don't want to that day or I don't feel like it. I am trusted. I maintain strict confidence with the private information I learn in dialogue with business connections, family, and friends. I am the mirror of your greatness. I understand that the level of greatness I see in others is in exact proportion to my own. Searching for another's greatness expands my own. Okay. So, what I want you to know is that, I'll go back to here. I think this will work. Well, come on, computer. You're supposed to do what I say. There we go. Here's what I want you to know about these mantras. Over 17 years, since 2008, I have done 60, well, maybe it was a little later than that when I started this particular program. I can't remember. It's 65 business quarters where 500 12-week client goals were achieved. And these clients stayed with me quarter after quarter after quarter because of the repetition. Set a new goal every 12 weeks. One example that I want to tell you about this is that this was also done inside an emerging enterprise where I had cohorts lasting 12 weeks with this material I'm sharing with you. And at the end of a year, so that's like some 48, 50 weekly programs where everybody repeated this. And this was technology, medical devices. It was all men, except for some of the admins and bookkeepers, right? And I asked them at the end of the year, which of these mantras that we read and talked about every week was the one that really stuck with them. And the one was, I am the mirror of your greatness. I understand that the level of greatness I see in others is in exact proportion to my own, meaning that these people had learned to look for the good in other people as part of their character. Now, you know, if you want to take on these one at a time, you can for repetition, but the reality is reading this each week and generating it heightens your cellular vibration, and it begins to implant through autosuggestion in a gentle way into your subconscious mind that being these things is of the highest value, and you'll be the best leader Now, I worked with this emerging enterprise for 2.5 years and had 10 cohorts, and we did a beginning and we did it several times, and then we did an abbreviated version. So whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're in small business, whether you're a franchise owner, it doesn't matter. These things will serve you well. Well, come on now. Goodness gracious. There we go. All right, let me make this big again. If I could get this over here. Now, the next thing, bear with me. In this program, these are foundational truths. Over my entire lifetime, and particularly in the last 30 years, these things are always true. And I invite you to embrace them that way. Try them on. If you find yourself arguing with this, just move on to the next one, because everyone's point of view is accurate from their perspective. So I want you to consider and add to your tools, see if you resonate with, try these on. I don't repeat these a lot, but these are very important in leadership, honoring universal law, and practicing the principles of success. Order is the first law of the universe. First order, then movement. The next one is out of confusion comes order. So if you're confused with something, if you'll keep with it, you don't have to decide that minute. You may not be aware of the clarity of it yet. We have to hear things several times, don't we? Especially when we're learning, geometry and algebra and all that. I mean, they tell you how to do all these things. They give you the process, but you don't remember it right away because you're in a state of confusion, and it's hard to take action when you're confused. So if you don't get it right now, just move on to the next thing. You're in charge, okay? The next one is, which you've heard me say, repetition is the first law of learning. And that is your fourth principle of success. Auto-suggestion, self-suggestion. This is how you learned your multiplication tables, right? Right? You didn't learn these things once a week when you were in multiplication. And do you remember? I remember when I was a little girl, when we were doing this, I remember dancing through the house. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Once I got the fives, and then 10, 20, 30, and then 1 times 1 is 1. So those are the first 3 that I learned. And I would dance around repeating them, because that is how we learn, through auto or self-suggestion. And if you've worked with me, you know that it works the same with concepts. That's why we repeat the mantras each week. How's everybody doing? Okay, Ben is saying, can you talk URDU, please? I'm not sure what that means. Oh, Joni's here. Hi, Joni. So glad that you're here. Yes, the first law of learning. John says, I love this. Helping others win redefines our own success. Well, exactly. Greatness grows like any other muscle, in direct proportion to its use. First of all, you got to have some greatness within you to find it in someone else. Once you find it and you keep looking for that, it's always there based on the law of polarity. There's always good, even if it's teeny. Once you train your thinking and your mind to only look for the good, you'll have your setbacks, of course. But pretty much that's part of your character. You only see the good. When I tell you who you are for me, I don't bring up anything that I don't even know anything that's not good about you. My image of your identity is goodness and kindness. And there is our beautiful Catherine Chadwick. Okay, let me continue on. Catherine will be with us Monday, and Mind Over Matter Monday. Let's just see what you have to say here. We got a minute for that. We often learn the most when we become aware of a state of confusion. Right. I don't get it. Okay. It's okay not to get it, right? Absolutely. Okay. Laughing with Jackie because she said, this is like a master class. But the cool part is it's really only 25 minutes. Oh, my cursor is not behaving well at all here. I don't know why this happens. I don't know. Maybe it needs a battery. Okay, watch AI clips pick that one up, right? So I have to be able to, wait a second, here we go. Oh, goodness gracious. I don't know how to turn this off. Just, oh, there we go. Okay, the next one is great leaders are impeccable followers. And what I mean by that is that we at least once have to have surrendered to a leader, even if we disagreed. That moment when you say, okay, I'm just going to do what they say and let me see what happens. Because that moment of surrender to a leader lets go of all your fears and it builds trust. Then when you're a leader, you'll understand the difficulties people you're leading have in embracing what you're doing, right? Because you'll have been there. You've walked in their shoes. So once at least, and you've probably done it many, many times, we only hold one thought in our conscious mind at a time. When you close your eyes and you picture your car, and then I ask you to picture the front door of your house, the car doesn't stay there with a split screen, right? So you think one thought at a time. And of course, with that thought, it's going to bring up a graphic image and a certain feeling or vibration. But the point is that one conscious thought, you may be thinking, well, I'm driving down the road on a conversation in dialogue, and I'm driving and I'm in a conversation. The driving is not conscious. How many times have you gotten in the car and ended up somewhere you didn't mean to because your mind was on a conversation, a song, whatever? Consider, we only hold one conscious thought at a time. Which one are you holding the most? Are you looking for greatness in other people? Or are you looking for what's wrong with them according to your current perspective, which is going to change very soon? Our performance is always a match to what we believe we can do or deserve. If you want to know what you really believe about yourself and what your ability is and your deservability, look at your results. The car, the house, the relationships, your cause. It matches what you believe you deserve or believe that you're worthy of or that you're capable of doing. And this work is all about having you do things that you weren't capable of doing and doing them anyway, which then disproves that old belief, that old fear that I can't do it. And remember that learning is the miracle grow for humans. It's the one thing that helps us grow. All right. I think I can come back over here now. It's pretty good. Let's see. There we go. All right. You've seen this before. So this is what we're going to do in terms of Think and Grow Rich and the lessons. So there are going to be lessons. There'll be other kinds of lessons, but there will be to support what I've shared with you. But this is where we'll go. And so this week we're focusing the week one on purpose, and we'll do that again next week. The purpose is the introduction. Definite purpose is in the introduction of Think and Grow Rich. If you read nothing else, read that. And then read it again. Don't even start on this until you get that chapter. There's a lot to read. Don't read it. You don't have to. You can listen to it. But what I recommend is that you don't read the book front to back. It's not necessary because in this training, I will bring in the high points that you would get if you had studied each chapter. That's because I've read it some, studied it 90 times and taught it for 20,000 hours. So I know what you need to know to apply these principles. So the first 2 weeks were on definite purpose. Okay, time is doing well here. Let me go on. And this is the roadmap to anything you want. It's true. All right, so let's just talk a little bit about Think and Grow Rich. And who's Napoleon Hill? So this is my copy. There's been other iterations that have come out, but I became very friendly with Ross Cornwell, who This was the book for several decades that Bob Proctor and Paul Martinelli used to teach Think and Grow Rich, and mine is just dog-eared like crazy, as you can see. Okay, it's actually coming apart at the seams. So Napoleon Hill was about 20 years old, a cub reporter, when he met Andrew Carnegie about 100 years ago. Well, my goodness, I don't know what happened. Oh, excuse me, that's terrible. Let me go back to the beginning. It was my elbow. Here we go. Okay. All right. About 100 years ago, Napoleon Hill met Andrew Carnegie. Napoleon Hill was a cub reporter. And Andrew Carnegie tossed an idea at him and invited him to interview our greatest and wealthiest, happiest, and healthiest citizens to find out what they were doing that the rest of the world didn't know about. Now, the unique thing, you remember Andrew Carnegie, even by today's standards, well, I don't know by today's standards, but he was the wealthiest man, right, at that time. And he didn't pay Napoleon Hill anything. So think to yourself, would I take on a job? And by the way, it was a 20-year gig. That's how long it lasted without being paid. Napoleon Hill did. And so effectively what happened was Andrew Carnegie introduced him to Rockefeller and Ford and Edison, all of these very successful, happy, healthy, and wealthy people, although that's another conversation that we may have one day. And so he spent 20 years doing that. Now, he interviewed some 10,000 people, but only 500 repeatedly to find out exactly what they were doing, what were they thinking that everybody else missed. And so you can be sure that Napoleon Hill made plenty of money through his connections, right? And this book was born. For personal development and people starting new businesses, it is the bestseller. The number one bestseller is more than 100 years old. That's the New Testament. And that is in personal development. Although, so all the things that you will read in any religious, pretty much any religious doctrine will have these principles. The thing that Napoleon Hill did that hadn't been done was consolidate 5,000 years of recorded history into these principles. So you can find these things throughout history. You can find it in the Quran, you can find it, you know, in the Tao, you can find it in the Bhagavad Gita. I mean, you can find it in any religious doctrine because these are universal truths. So he's actually known as the 20th century greatest reporter. But he didn't know anything about success or achievement. He didn't know anything. But through the interviewing, he became an expert. Okay. Let me just see. I'm going to go over here and see if there's anything else here. If my little cursor here will behave. Oh, I see Stanley Green is here. Hi, Stanley. So glad you're here. Kimberly Lechnick, I already used the bookends and attributed you, my dear. Let's see. Yes, movement and mind together is extra powerful. Sharon Rose says, I feel this with you, Leslie. Your actions show me that you are looking for my greatness. I do. I'll put this on. I'm always looking for the greatness of you. I mean, it's true. And I don't know if you can see this. You'll have to expand your screen because time's a wasting here. Not wasting. Okay, so a little bit about my experience. Let me just, I can show you this really quickly. This is how I landed on Think and Grow Rich. I had already been doing personal development, transformation, a little metaphysics, quantum physics. I'd done landmark education, transformational technology, and I was loving this stuff. I've loved it all my life. In 2006, The Secret came out. In 2007, I was so inspired by the movie The Secret that I started a meetup group called The Secret Society. In came an email after me doing this for about 6 months and just loving this stuff. You know, meeting once a month and getting to talk about all this stuff and The Secret was so exciting to me. I began to ask to find a way to do this work. And one day an email came in. I followed the link, which I shouldn't have done. In 2007, landed on Life Success Productions, met Bob Proctor. I was invited to come there and be certified as a coach and a consultant the following spring, in the spring of 2008. Yeah, but then I had to ask the big question. Now, I'm making $2,500 a month as a secretary. I'm living okay. I mean, I'm not unhappy. It doesn't take a lot for me. So I said to the woman, I said, well, how much is the certification? Where I would go to West Palm Beach and spend a week with people from all over the world and the best teachers. Oh, Wayne Dyer, Mary Morrissey. I mean, all of them were there. She said $16,000. And I said, great, I'll be there. I had $500 in an Edward Jones account. It was so preposterous, and I wanted to do it so much that I literally blotted out the fear of poverty because it was impossible. All I did was focus on what they told me to do. Start a mastermind. We'll send you the materials. Get 8 people together. Start teaching, etc. And 4 months later, my ex called me and said, Leslie, I'm sending you a check. The company sold some stock, and this is your share. And it was $20,000. But I had visualized and dreamed it every single day for 4 months. And I had no idea about the stock. Okay. So that's a little bit about me. I think that was everything. Let me just make sure. Yes. Okay. So in the introduction, I'm going to tell you this story, and I'll probably tell you again, but there are other stories that you need to hear. It talks about definite purpose, the one goal, the one thing that you want. You don't usually know how you're going to do it. So this is a story of Edwin C. Barnes, who was a poor man, who had it in his mind that he wanted to go into business with Thomas Edison. He was the greatest inventor of all time. He didn't know Thomas Edison. He had never been anywhere where Thomas Edison was. In fact, he didn't have a dime to even get there. He rode blind baggage, which means he hopped a freight car. We don't know what his wife said. Did his wife say, listen, Edwin, if you leave, don't bother to come back? It didn't matter. His dream was to go into business with Edison. So he rode blind baggage and ended up at Edison's door. Edison opens the door and he recounts. Now think about this guy. He probably smells. He's hungry, right? He looks like a vagrant, right? But Edison said there was something in his eyes. Now, Edison had developed intuition, which we'll get into. He saw something about himself. He knew the man had said on the way, I will go into business with him. I am going to do this. And Edison hired him. But what you want to know is that he didn't get to go into business with Edison for 5 years. So he worked in the laboratory, and the sales crew was making all the money with all the inventions that Edison came up with. And Barnes was sitting in the studio or at the workbench, but he did something very unusual every day, just like I did before that money came in. He visualized already being a partner with Edison and how exciting it would be. And as the story goes, it was 5 years later, and Edison came up with the Ediphone, which is like the dictaphone, and all the salespeople went on that, right? And there was his opportunity. He had kept it top of mind. And so, indeed, every Ediphone was inscribed with manufactured by Edison, installed by Barnes. There's lessons there in definite purpose, okay? So this is what you want to get from this story. All right, quick reprieve and a small little break here to announce something wonderful about Nicole Angai Galindo, who has agreed to be the event sponsor for this event each week. And you should know right now that if you've always wanted to write and you don't think you can, I've written 13, did I say 13 books? But most of them were anthologies where I wrote a story. So if you have been wanting to publish and you think that you might have a story within you, but you're really afraid because you really haven't ever done it other than a composition in high school. And, there's no proof that you could even do this. But if there's something inside you that's compelling you that maybe this is the right time, please, there's a wonderful anthology and specials going on right now, which is the second volume of We Choose to Be More Than Our Diagnoses. So I invite you to consider that if this has been on your heart. Okay, we're right at 10:45. Thank you, Nicole, Guiding Brilliant Writers Publishing House. So excited for Nicole and her entrepreneurial endeavor. Okay, for next week, because this is really a course, okay? And you can come and go as you please, but it's just pick up the last half hour if you can for the content. Here's what I suggest you read or listen to the introduction between now and next week. It's just a suggestion. Begin to consider what is your next definite purpose, a big juicy goal that's you've been pondering with. You might have failed at it before. You sure as heck don't know how to do it. It just seems wild and crazy. What is that for you? Do you have one? We're going deep into the lessons from the introduction next week. And I suggest that you listen to this week's recording at least midweek. And again, move through to 20 minutes past and pick up this last 25, actually 30 minutes. This is the best way to get everything you can to boost your conscious awareness of your infinite potential. All right, one more thing. I have something wonderful for you. If you have a couple of minutes, I almost forgot about this, but it's wonderful. This is a 2-minute affirmation, meditation, eyes open or closed, affirming clarity and comprehension of what you have heard today. So settle in for 2 minutes and a brief reset. Let your attention soften and land right where you are. Begin by taking a slow breath in through your nose, feeling your chest expand while your mind gently opens. Exhale through your mouth, releasing any tension or mental clutter. These affirmations are for clarity and understanding. Repeat them silently or aloud, letting each one land fully. My mind is clear, steady, and receptive. I understand what I need to learn. Every concept becomes easier as I focus. I trust my ability to comprehend and integrate this lesson. Clarity flows through me with each and every breath. Take one more deep breath in. And as you exhale, imagine your thoughts aligning and your understanding settling into place. Carry this sense of clarity with you as you continue forward. All right, my friends, that completes today. I am so excited that you're here, and I will come back and respond to your comments and questions. Everyone have a fabulous Friday and weekend, and I will see you, if I can get the cursor, I will see you on Monday at Mind Over Matter Mondays. And my goodness. Okay, here we go. This has got to work. There we go. See you next week. Thank you. Thank you for being here, and